All right, that was a great first week with our course orientation, and I had a ton of people emailing, which is good, which means the lines of communication are going to be open between the two of us. For the discussion post, a lot of people posted just what their favorite food was, and you uploaded a picture, which was good to see. Your PSP, your personal plan for success in this course, got lots of those, read through them. You've made a little comment of something that you wrote in there, highlighting how you were going to ensure that you're successful in the course. Loved reading through those. And even the one that was totally optional, the discussion post, for just where you were going to put a number of items that represent you on the floor and take a picture. I'm going to throw some up real fast right now. These ones were phenomenal. Super impressed with the quality of the images that are coming in already. If you were someone who did not do that discussion post, that is totally okay. That was an optional one where if you finished all the orientation, maybe you finished by Wednesday, you still had Thursday, Friday. That was something you could do to kind of, work on your skills even further and practice, trying to think about, leading lines and how to get the viewer's eye to stay within the picture. Right, so that's what I loved looking at your first arrangements, right? And that's something, so if I was putting a bunch of images on the ground, I wanted to think about, it's like, how can I make sure the viewer's eye stays in the middle of the image rather than it leading me off the side, right? So that's something you're gonna think about throughout the course. But I was very happy to see the quality of the work coming in already. Super excited about the semester because lots of people were engaged with the course this week. And that's what's gonna make our course that much more interesting and fun to take part in this week, is we have that little online community where people are posting, and I love it for some of you because you were even doing it, commenting on other people's posts, right? And I'm sure you read, making sure that the comments are always, positive and a positive critique on other things, and complimenting the work that other people are creating. Makes a nice little creative community on the internet, and especially for this, because we're gonna have lots of fun. For this upcoming week, talking about creativity, that's the focus of this week. And you can't quite see it, but I got 3 books sitting on my desk, because I really enjoy, when we're talking about things that you enjoy, and that's what we're gonna talk about this week, reading about creativity, how to bring out the creativity of others and how to bring out the creativity in yourself. And you can see on behind, this is gonna be the content for the week. We're gonna look at the creative process and the critical analysis process of where, when you're looking at something, the critical analysis part, you're not just like, I don't like it, right? It's like, well, what parts don't you like? And how could we use even the parts that we do like in our own creative process, right? Too often we're just like, I don't like it. I want you to try to think about what those things are and maybe how you could use them in different ways to make it something that you like, rather than just saying, I don't like it. We're gonna try to look at that this week. If you are a person who does want to explore your creativity and how to make yourself creative, right? Creativity is a skill that we all, the more you practice it, the better you're gonna get at being creative, right? So Creative Confidence, great book to read. Let the Elephants Run, also a good one. And then Creative Inc., all really good books. This one's more like a business end of the creativity side, but still a good read if you're interested in reading about creativity and kind of fostering creativity, putting yourself in an environment that will allow you to be creative. That's gonna be the focus for the week. All right, I'm gonna go through the content, break it down, what each part and when it should be done by, and then by the end of the week, there will be a submission where it's gonna be a little head that's gonna have all the things that, when you think about creativity, you're gonna put those inside the head. So maybe you're a person who likes to listen to music, or maybe you're a person who likes to go on a walk in nature. You're gonna try to put images inside of a head as your submission for the week. So this week, that's our focus, is exploring what does it take for you to let your creative juices start flowing around in your head and come up with ideas. Are you a person that loves to talk it out, right? Maybe you're a person who loves brainstorming, right? So in class, when your teacher's like, we're gonna brainstorm, Work with your partners. You're like, woohoo, love talking to my friends. Or are you a person when the teacher's like, we're gonna work in groups, we're gonna brainstorm, you're like, oh, I just wanna do it on my own, right? Both are good, but that's different, right? Maybe you're a person who just likes to brainstorm on a piece of paper and jot ideas. I'm gonna say I'm a person, whenever I need to come up with an idea, I'm one of those people who likes to visualize it, right? I'm gonna close my eyes and I like to see it inside my head. So even before, like if I'm gonna go for a walk or even draw a picture, or I'm gonna build something, right? I stop and I have to visualize it first. I have to see it in my mind before I can actually be creative, right? That's part of my creative process, is just pausing, being silent, and visualizing it in my head before I actually do it. So we're gonna explore that topic a little bit this week. All right, so for this course, there's always gonna be 3 parts. There's a Minds On section. The Minds On section, and it says Minds On right at the top, is gonna be something that you're gonna read through. It's like the textbook content part of each week will be a Minds On. That might be your Monday, where you're just gonna sit and read it. There might be a YouTube video attached. Once again, there might not be some work you have to do, but you're just taking in content. Those are usually good on a Mondays. Minds On, do the Monday. For your Minds On, there's all these different parts, and you can see the bullets on the screen of going through the creative process. It's like a cycle, right? Where you're gonna go around and do these certain things. There's a meme that's always out there, or it's like this quote, where it's like, you have an idea, it's a creative idea, you're like, this is gonna be the best. You start to do the idea and then you're like, oh, it's kind of challenging, I'm having difficulties. Then you get to the point where you're like, this is no good. I don't like it, no good. Some people stop them. If you keep pushing, you get through that and then you're like, hey, maybe it's not bad. You get to the final product and you're like, you're super proud of it and you enjoy what you made. That's how the creative process works. It's not like you start with an idea and you jump to, this is awesome. It's, hey, this is a great idea. This is kind of tough. Oh man, I'm not liking this at all. It's turning out pretty good. Love it, because you're super proud of the accomplishment that you made it through that process. That's a super normal thing. So you have to realize when you're working through something and you're trying to be creative, right? It's not something that happens normally every day. You're trying to do something unique. You're doing something original. You're gonna hit a roadblock of, this is challenging and this is tough, because it's something new. That's the fun stuff. You're gonna try to work through that. That challenging point, and this is when I talked about it being a skill that you get better and better at, you get used to hitting that roadblock where it's like, this is challenging. And you know, because you've done it repeatedly, that it's like, I'm gonna love it on the other side of that, and I'm gonna try to work through that challenging stick where, and I'll give an example. This semester, we're gonna do some light painting, which means it's gonna be super dark, and you're gonna move a light in front of the camera, and it's gonna record the movement of the light, and then you're gonna record that image. That's a tough one, where you might be trying to spell your name, or you might be trying to make angel wings on the back of a person, or you might be trying to like draw a dragon in light, but you don't get to see the light until the picture's done. That's one of those ones where this is gonna be so much fun. And then you see your dragon and you're like, that it doesn't look like a dragon at all. You try again. You see what the movement of your arm needs to be based on the picture. And that's like the critical analysis part, right? Where you're gonna start to be like, oh, if I moved my hand like this, or quickly, it changes how long the shutter reads the light, as opposed to moving it really fast, or moving it slow, which would make a solid beam of light rather than a wispy beam. Right, so that's one of those fun things where it's challenging, but you work through it to get to the other side to create a creative, original piece of work. So, step 1, Minds On, read through all of this content about the different steps about being creative. Couple questions here at the end that when you do something that are questions that you kind of ask yourself while you're doing it. You don't have to you don't write answers for these, but they're questions that you can ask yourself. That's gonna be there. And then you get to the middle section. Now we're like the Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday, just read the comment. If there's a video, watch the video. Tuesday, Wednesday is the action, which means there's gonna be something smaller, might be a discussion post, might be something that you're just doing to prepare for the last step. But that's like a Tuesday, Wednesday, which is called action. And for this, I want you to tell me who inspires you. So if I said right now, who's your favorite influencer, YouTube person, or Instagram creator that you follow, that maybe you follow their photography, maybe you follow a certain type of video they make because you like how they edit it, you're gonna tell me about that person in a discussion post. So under the action, you'll see it right at the very bottom. It'll say join the discussion. You're gonna click join the discussion. You're gonna tell me about a person, and it can be anybody. It could be a family member, right? I said YouTube or Instagram or whatever. It could totally be a family member. You might have an aunt, uncle, grandparent who loves to paint, who loves to take photos. Maybe they're a photographer, or maybe they just do other things creative. Maybe they're in woodworking or anything in the creative realm, and they inspire you to be creative. That's who you're gonna tell me about. I chose one person who is a Canadian. He is a photographer. He's also a YouTuber. His name's Peter McKinnon. Peter McKinnon, when I was first getting into photography, he was kind of getting into photography and making YouTube videos. So I was always watching him as someone to learn a bunch of new techniques. And he's still going strong today, taking lots of pictures. So he's someone that I go to whenever I'm thinking it's like, I need some inspiration to take this picture. I'll watch some of his videos or go through some of his images to get that ideas flowing about creativity. So you're gonna add, and it would be great if you could add a picture of something they do. And once again, it's quick to, we're working on if you found a YouTube video that highlights them, just copy the link, paste the link right into your discussion post, just so if maybe somebody else is gonna be inspired when they see your discussion post about a person, they can just click the link and watch a video on it. You don't have to do anything special about it. You don't have to write like something about that YouTube video. Just grab the link and throw it in. Maybe, but definitely add, why does that person inspire you, right? What about their work do you find inspiring? Okay. So just to reiterate, I kind of said, don't write you write a blurb, but you don't have to write a blurb about the links that you add, okay? Then the last step is what we call the consolidation. This will be your Thursday, Friday. So Monday, mine's on, read the content. Tuesday, Wednesday, do the action part. And for us, we just have a discussion post for this week. Then the Thursday, Friday, you're gonna do the consolidation. That's how every week is gonna be broken down throughout the semester. Mine's on, action, consolidation. What we have assigned should be done by the Friday. And as long as you follow this little format, you'll work your way through the course nice and easily. No work will be building up. For this one, you are going to create, and you'll see it because I'll put it up on the screen, a face, and I kind of talked about it at the beginning, with things that it takes for you to be inspired, right? So if I said, what inspires you to be creative? Might be for walks in nature, might be listening to music, maybe you're a person who loves naps, maybe you're a person who loves playing with your dog and just relaxing, or maybe you have other animals and you do fun things with your pets to kind of get you like relaxed and in a mindset where you can be creative. Whatever those things are, maybe you're a person who needs total silence. Maybe you're a person who loves to talk it out. Maybe you go to Starbucks. Maybe you have a friend meet up at Starbucks and you like to brainstorm different ideas. It doesn't just have to be in the art world where we're like talking about photography and things like that. It could be like if it was science and your teacher said brainstorm something, where would you like to do that? Would you like to go to a learning commons? Would you like to work in small groups? Would you like to work alone? I want you to do a little bit of self-analysis on yourself of it's like, what does it take for you to be creative? For even me, I like to read. I like to read about creativity, to even be like, okay, let's do this. Let's be creative. Let's try to come up with ideas. Because as I said before, it's that skill you gotta practice to get through that roadblock of, ooh, it's tough. Trying new things, trying to be creative and original, you will hit a roadblock in the middle, which once you get through the other side, you're like, it is awesome. This was good. Okay, so that's what and you might experience that this week when we're doing something. So we're gonna try to be creative by making this space with the things that we do to be creative. I have included a Photoshop tutorial for how to do this. So in Photoshop, if you are a person who does have Photoshop or you have access to Photoshop in your homeschool, 100% you can do this method. Just watch the steps and you'll see how to make a clipping mask out of the middle of the face. So you just get to move the pictures in and automatically they'll be inside the face. So I've included a Photoshop tutorial just to give you some additional information of a way to complete this activity. Does it have to be through Photoshop? Absolutely not. This is an activity on creativity. Do it however you feel is the most appropriate for you. You might be a person who's like, I'm gonna print off this piece of paper and I'm going to like paper mache things inside the face. I'm gonna cut stuff out and put it on it. You might be a person who wants to print off the page and draw inside of it. You might be a person who, and I'm gonna name a different app. Maybe you have an iPad and you have the app Procreate. Procreate, like P-R-O create, your Procreate, is a great app, very similar to Photoshop on the iPad, but a little more user-friendly because it doesn't have as much functionality as Photoshop, because Photoshop is a very robust program and lots of things that it can do. Where Procreate, if you're a person that has that, you're gonna create a clipping mask and do the same thing, put the pictures in behind it. So or maybe you're a person who's just really good with Word or Pages, or just a Word file that you can add pictures inside of, you can use that. Whichever way you are most comfortable with taking a piece of paper flat image and adding pictures to it, that's the one you're gonna use, okay? We don't wanna make it we want it to be a little bit challenging where you're pushing yourself to be creative, but not to the point where it's like you don't even understand how to complete the task because you don't have Photoshop. Use whichever software program you have access to in your homeschool. You can use that one. All right. If you look at the very bottom of the screen, it will show you that I'm giving you a link to the handout. There's an instruction video at the bottom, and then it's telling you to submit your work. So usually right at the bottom, if you see something in blue ink means you can click it. Blue ink means click on it. It doesn't say click here, but you can click on all those blue links at the bottom, which will take you to the actual files or YouTube video to watch. All right. I'm gonna pose, I'll show it right now, the face that I made with a number of things with little words on them of things that I like to be creative. But creativity is totally up to you here. Anything when I say, what does it take for you to be creative? You can put inside that little face, and that's gonna be the week, okay? That's your Thursday, Friday. Thursday, Friday is using one of the software programs that you're familiar with. If you wanna try out Photoshop, I recommend even just watching my video on Photoshop so that you get an idea. If you've never seen any of them, it'll give you an idea of what Photoshop is kind of capable. Even though the Photoshop of today, I just even updated my version of Photoshop. Photoshop's unreal right now. You've probably heard of the AI that Photoshop can do, where say this was this image we're looking at, and I cropped it, and I wanted that to be small, AI could fill in the rest of the classroom. It's crazy. If I was to even circle this TV, just circle it and say window, it would fill in the rest of that window with cars going across the back of the screen. Where in the old days, you would have had to have found an image that kind of looked similar and try and match it up. It just fills it now. It generates it. It searches the internet for what this should look like as a window and does it. So the current version of Photoshop capabilities are like through the roof right now with AI and what it's capable of doing. So if you're a person who's interested in Photoshop, but maybe you don't have access to it right now, just check out the video that I made and you can kind of watch it, but complete the video however you want. In your school, you should have somewhere in your school though that does have Photoshop on the computers. You might be able to talk to that teacher and be like, hey, could I use it at lunch? Or maybe during the period if you have a period that matches up when they're in there. But if you don't, it's okay. That's not something to worry about. Shouldn't hinder you from doing the project on creativity. Just come up with a creative solution, whether it's drawing it, and say you drew it, just take a picture of it, upload the picture. I have had people ask before, does it have to be an image you took to put it under the face? The answer is no. For this one, if say the answer is horseback riding, right? And say you, for whatever reason, didn't have a picture of the horse that you rode, just go on the internet, find a picture of a horse, and you can put horse in the picture, okay? So for this activity, you can take pictures from the internet and put it under the face, right? It might be you dream of going on vacation, but maybe you haven't gone on vacation to Hawaii. You could definitely take a picture off the internet of Hawaii and put it in the image, okay? So that's often a question I get, because sometimes I don't say that in the video. For this activity, it does not have to be your own original images. This one can be ones that you've taken off the internet. Because remember, once we start taking our own images, you gotta have that creativity proof, that little something where if I snap a picture, I'm then gonna hold this in front, snap another picture, and I would submit the two, one being the good quality one being my originality proof, so that I knew you actually took the picture. Okay? Man, I said last week that the videos wouldn't be this long. I can see again, this one was 22 minutes. At some point in time, they will get slower. All right? Have a good week, guys. See ya.